So we know that at least 93% of the population, or at least the United States, is metabolically inflexible. We are obese, we're overstuffed. So we have all of this energy walking around on our bodies, but we can't tap into it. We are exhausted. Our thyroid health is plummeted. We are fatigued, or we have brain fog. How do you suggest someone listening who I just explained, what do they do? What do they do to now become metabolically flexible, turn this around?
Well, so the goal is to be able to use glucose or fat. That's called metabolic flexibility, when you can do both. Well, if your insulin is high, you can't use fat. In fact, ultimately, you can't use glucose either. And that's when you get type 2 diabetes. Ultimately, what we need to do is we need to get the insulin down any way you can, because everybody's insulin is up. And, the data, the secular trend data over the last 40 years demonstrates that we are now producing 2 to 4 times the amount of insulin to maintain our serum glucose than we did back in the 1970s. So until we solve the insulin problem, we will not solve the metabolic health problem. Gotta get the insulin down. Okay, how do you do that? Well, let's start with the easy things. How do you keep insulin down? Don't let it go up. What makes it go up? Refined carbohydrate and sugar. Start there. That's where I suggest, to my patients, as a public health advocate, that's where you start. Now, does that mean you have to go to a ketogenic diet? No. Turns out a high fiber diet will do as well at mitigating the glucose excursions as does a ketogenic diet. But you have to eat the fiber. The problem is ultra-processed food is fiberless food. So every which way, either because of the refined carbohydrate and sugar content of the ultra-processed food, or because of the lack of fiber of ultra-processed food. Ultra-processed food's the problem every which way you go. Get rid of the ultra-processed food, see how you feel, and go from there. That's step one. After that, there are a bunch of other steps you can do to try to, shall we say, pit both ends against the middle.
Yeah, and I totally would like to echo what Rob's saying. I think that the trick is to make the mitochondria healthy. When you make the mitochondria healthy, you'll also cure insulin resistance. And when the mitochondria are healthy, then you can burn fat and you can burn carbs at the same time. So the goal is that, and everything he said. The first step is to reduce damaging the mitochondria, reduce causing the insulin resistance by cutting back on carbs, especially high glycemic carbs and sugar and high fructose corn syrup. And then the second thing, there's some very good fats. Picking omega-3 fats are really great. Another one is to stay well hydrated. Hydration is so important. Exercise is absolutely critical. And, especially if you do, kind of like this stage 2 exercise where you're kind of like walking or jogging at a low rate where you can maintain it for 30, 40 minutes and, still be able to, talk. That actually stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis and mitochondrial regeneration. There's certain foods that may actually help, insulin resistance. So there's some data that coffee is good, for example, dark chocolate.
Chocolate, very dark.
Very dark. It has to be, epicatechin rich. You don't want a lot of sugar in there. That's for sure. You're countering it. And you don't want sugar in the coffee either.
Right.
Believe it or not, natural fruits, even though we talk about fructose being bad, small amounts of natural fruits are really quite good. Like kiwi is kind of low in sugar, low in fructose, high in vitamin C. Vitamin C actually is a good antioxidant. helps the mitochondria. You know, there's a lot of eating healthy, unprocessed foods.